안녕하세요, 스트링입니다. Hey Roses, I just wanted to go over books that I've read this month, which is quite a few. Sorry, allergies. I read a lot of manga, but I did read 2 normal books and started a normal one. So the first one that I actually went through, which I guess is more lore driven, and it's Hyrule Historia. And I know it's backwards, I wish I could fix that, but I have Hyrule Historia here. This is actually John's. He let me borrow it so I could flip through it and look through it. And I thought it was interesting. It was interesting to learn like the lore behind a lot of the games and how they're connected and the different timelines and things, because for a long time I was confused about the timelines. So it was really interesting to see, you know, how all that interconnected. When I got through with Hyrule Historia, I read Tiger's Voyage, which is the 3rd book in the Tiger's Curse saga. There are currently 5 out, but 5 apparently is going to be like really hard to find, pardon the language. But I've got 1 through 4 because the bookstore here in town had 1 through 4, so I bought all 4 of them because they were $7.99 each, which wasn't bad for hardcovers. So I'm hoping to get to book 4 at some point. Not at the moment because I like to space it out, but I do want to read this soon. Okay, now for the rest of the ones, I have it in this bag so I can keep track. Are ones that I checked out from the library because I was very curious. Let me get this out of here. About certain series, and I didn't want to buy them if I knew I wasn't going to like them, type of thing. So, and these are all manga too. So the first one is Ajin Demi-Human 1, and I got 1 and 2. This series is dark. Darker than I thought. I heard from a bunch of manga tubers that it was dark. I was not expecting this dark. Basically, demi-humans are humans that can control these demi-human part of themselves, and they can't be killed. And the government is trying to basically kidnap them and use them for research, like for health research, to help better humanity. So they basically become test subjects. And at the time, only 46 were known. But the main character, and this is not a spoiler because it happens in the beginning, the main character gets hit by a car. And he should have died, but he realizes, like, he comes back to life, and that's when he realizes that he's a demi-human, and now he's on the run. So I feel bad for this guy. Just like, dang, man, this gotta suck. Anyway. The next one I read is My Brain is Different, Stories of ADHD and Other Developmental Disorders. This one was actually very enlightening. It puts in manga format about how different disorders affect people and things like that. So I'm glad that I read this. This is one that if I saw this at like Barnes & Noble or just at any bookstore, this is one that I would get to keep because this was very enlightening. Sorry guys, my allergies are bad. The next 2 I got just because I've heard so many things about the OVA that was associated with this. And it's Attack on Titan No Regret Volumes 1 and 2, basically Levi's story. And I remember hearing about the OVA and how good it was, but I was curious how the manga was gonna do it. So I've now that I've read the manga, I can see where people are coming from, that it is a good section of the story. I do hope to be able to watch the OVA myself at some point, but I need to find like a streaming service, like maybe a Crunchyroll or something, and see if they have it so that I can watch it, you know? Okay, and the next, or the last 6, I told you I read a bunch. Let me do this the other way so it doesn't appear backwards in the camera. The series is called Blood Alone. Like I said, I got 1 through 6, because unfortunately that's all that was translated. I found that out after I finished book 6 and was a little miffed. This is basically about a vampire girl named Misaki, who wasn't originally a vampire. She was the daughter of a vampire hunter, but she got turned when a vampire basically attacked her father. And the human that's with her, Kuroi, is a vampire hunter as well, but he has these special powers he learned from this woman who's like this big vampire hunter. So like, he can control time when fighting them. He's able to like hear things normal humans wouldn't be able to hear, and they actually use him a lot when they do like cases where there's dead bodies, because his eyes can actually see certain things on a body that most other people couldn't see. So like, he has become Misaki's guardian because he's able to take care of her, whereas most people, they would just kind of like hand her over to any vampire clan, but she doesn't have a blood family, so that's why Kuroi is taking care of her. Also, Kuroi has a best friend named Sayanomi, who is a doctor at a hospital, and she can actually touch a dead body and see that body's final moments. So between the two of them, they actually have solved quite a lot of cases, honestly. So I thought that was really cool. Just because, you know, it's something different in a series. There was one other book that I read, but I do not have it because it was from the library, and that was Impulse by Ellen Hopkins. Impulse follows 3 teenagers who are in a mental institution, which trigger warning for like self-harm and things like that. One takes too many pills, one slits a wrist, and one goes to shoot himself in the chest but misses. And they're all admitted into this hospital to try to get better. And it was a really emotional story, I just gotta say. That story was really emotional. And it was a good book, but her books always kind of hit you where it hurts, so to speak. So anyway, I thought you guys would like to see what I've read recently. I might start doing these more, like what I've read in the month, and then do another video with like what I plan to read, because, you know, I go to the library, so I don't know exactly what I'm gonna read when I get there. Depends on what they have. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you guys have heard of any of the manga I've talked about. I know Attack on Titan y'all probably heard about, but curious if you're familiar with like Ajin and Blood Alone. Oh, also, the one that I'm currently reading is Being Jazz. She has a show on TLC by the same name. I'm not that far into it yet, but I am liking it so far. But I hope to finish that one next and then continue for more manga. And there are 2 more that I got from the library, but I'm not gonna have a chance to read them before I have to take them back, so I'm not gonna show them. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video again, and I will talk to you guys soon in another video another time. Bye, roses. Annyeong.